Welcome back, YouTube. And I am glad you guys have clicked on this video because we're going to break down some math here and go over some of the catalyst for Dogecoin hitting $1. And the major one is obviously going to be Twitter, but the math behind the numbers is actually scary how quickly things can escalate and turn things and put Doge literally into a different category from what it is right now. And this is one of the biggest things that we've been covering over the last few years, which is obviously this integration. I know Elon kind of hinted at it a few weeks ago with Kathy, and we're going to have obviously some progress toward that in 2024. But obviously, if we look at the numbers that I have here that we're about to go over, I'm not even gonna put it in the middle of the video. We're gonna get to it right now. It's just going to show you just how quickly things can turn around. So right now we are, if you look at the total circulating supply, there's roughly about 145 billion Dogecoin. And I want to just kind of segue here. The biggest thing that people have to understand about Doge is they try and compare it to things like a Bitcoin or Ethereum that has different purposes, right? And you can even say that, Bitcoin is going to be used or have the ability to be used on X for purchases as well, or similar to Doge. It won't just be Doge. I know I'm going to hear a lot of those arguments, and we have to understand which coin is going to operate more so in its purpose. Which ones are going to make more sense to use? And obviously, that's going to be Dogecoin. People are going to hoard Bitcoin. It's going to be more like gold. It has a scarcity value, and you don't necessarily give away things that have a scarcity value that's going to appreciate over time. You don't use those things to pay for goods and services. Nobody is going to, even though you have coins that are made out of gold that's legal US tender, nobody's going to go take a 1 ounce gold coin because it's redeemable in $50 increments of US currency and go buy groceries with it, because that would be stupid, because the scarcity factor makes that coin worth a lot more, and it's going to be appreciated over time versus something that's designed to be a currency that has a lot of it, and it's going to reward the people that are obviously invested early, but it's literally designed to be a currency. So people, when you have the option to say, okay, what would you like to purchase your X premium with? Doge or Bitcoin? It'll become a no-brainer as far as what you will use to purchase your X premium with. But anyway, so just wanted to clear that up. So we have 145 billion Doge in total circulation right now. And if you take that 145 billion and you say there's roughly 335 million users on Twitter right now, and let's just, for a simple math, let's just say we have 100% usage for whatever, X premium, X ads, whatever. That will come out to roughly 432 Doge available for each person, right? Literally 432 Doge. So less than $50, and there's no Doge available at all. But you'll have some people come in the comments saying, okay, well, there's no way it's going to have 100% usage. You're reaching. That number can't be accurate. It has to be much higher. And I'd say you're wrong. It's actually much lower. The actual available Doge, and even this number is still too high. If you take out the numbers, there's 31 wallets that pretty much have 106 billion Doge is held in those 31 wallets. So that means there's roughly 39 billion Doge available to purchase. Now, and this is just the 31 wallets. We obviously know that the number is even less than the 39 billion because you have the retail sector. I'm only counting 31 wallets, right? Obviously, there's 4 million. There's little like 3,900,000 and 90 something thousand other wallets out there that have Dogecoin in it. But we're only going to count 31 wallets in this video, and that leaves us with 39 billion Doge available to purchase. So obviously we know that this number is less than the number I'm about to give you. So if we take that same math and we say 335 million or 39 billion Doge, that leaves us with about 116 Doge per user, or at the current price that we're at right now, about $10.44. And then no more Doge. You can't buy it, you can't get it, it's gone, right? So that's less than 1 month of X premium, right? If you're a creator or something like that, you're paying for the X premium, get your blue check mark. That's $10.44 one time, and it's gone, right? So we are, if we're looking at the math here, we know that the numbers are less than this, probably a lot less. I imagine it's probably somewhere between $5 and $8 per person. And we know that even people like myself who have much more invested in that, these numbers, even all the numbers I'm giving you now with 100% usage and all that, before anyone comes on there and say, oh, that's impossible. These numbers are actually much lower than what I'm giving you right now, right? Because it will take a lot of time to go through and add up the differences. But if I had to guess, I'd say somewhere between $5 and $8 a user, and that's maybe even, I say five, maybe $5 to $8, and that may still even be too high, but that would be enough to train the available um, uh, coins in circulation, right? The float. So if you're looking at this from a supply and demand aspect, this is what kind of got us to the 70 cent roughly before Elon SNL. You had the hopium and everyone writing on it, and the demand was just exceeding the supply, right? Because we have around 10,000 coins coming out per minute, and we look at this and we say, okay, well, the coin is it's ever increasing, and this is what makes it a great currency, and this is what kind of why I pointed out the difference between Doge and Bitcoin at the beginning of the video, because people wanted to buy in at a price of Dogecoin, but want it to appreciate like Bitcoin. And you have to kind of understand Doge is going to reward the early investors. It'll have obviously after mass adoption, it'll have a stabilization point, and it'll fluctuate something similar to what you see with other currencies like the dollar and stuff like that. It's not worth the same every day. It fluctuates, but if you were to ride that wave up, that's where you're going to see the greatest gain if you're looking to trade out of Doge back into the dollar, or trade out of Doge into gold or something like that. That's the whole price versus value aspect. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, the idea would obviously be to be invested prior to mass adoption, right? Because after mass adoption, you'll start to see some stabilization and a lot of the sideways trending. So kind of like what we were looking at. I'm kind of glad I have the chart up here. It's kind of like what we're looking at here, like this range here, where typically, even if you go back and where Doge kind of grabs liquidity at, which is down here in this range, this is something similar you'll see just at a much higher number where it fluctuates. So, but by getting in here before mass adoption, this is something what you would experience here. This is like the purchase of Twitter by Elon, that big candlestick there. This is kind of what you're going to see by having that scarcity aspect come in there, because Doge won't have the scarcity aspect that Bitcoin has, because it has a set number of coins coming into the market, but it can temporarily experience that, and that's where you're going to see the greatest gains, right? So when we had like the run with when we had all the hopium and the stuff going around with Elon before SNL, there wasn't enough Dogecoin coming out to affect the price of the people to push the price down, or even being sold onto the market to kind of keep the price at low levels, just because of the amount of demand that was on the coin. And when you have something like mass integration, and we're just talking about X here, we're not even talking about mass integration in other aspects, but we have something like X, and you put a mass demand on this 39 billion Dogecoin that's going to be there, at some point there won't be enough to it'll be scarcity. It'll be, because at that point, even you're waiting on the Dogecoin to be mined, and then that's getting snatched up as well. Then that obviously pushes up the price quite a bit. And if you're looking at the aspect of, okay, well, how will this get put back into the market, or will this be sold and stuff like that? And then that'll probably make Elon and X probably the largest wallet of Dogecoin. Right. And if they're not dumping the coins, because at some point it'll become counterintuitive for them to dump it and convert it back into dollars, at least all at once, then that adds to the stabilization. Because if you don't have, if you had, let's say Elon had 106 billion Dogecoin, right, of the 145, he wouldn't be able to dump all of it. It's just similar how shares work. He wouldn't be able to dump all of that, even if he wanted to, and get a decent price point. without tanking the price of the overall coin, right? So this is why when he wants to sell Tesla, if he wants to convert to cash because he wants to invest in something, he has to do it, he has to drip it, right? He can't be done all at once. And again, this kind of adds price stabilization to the overall asset as far as when you don't have a bunch of people who, and I'm not, this is not to stab at retail investors, but if you have a bunch of people who are driven by fear or who don't have much money, they'll continue to dump regardless of what's going on and further push the price down. But Elon's someone who has multiple businesses, money in other areas and stuff like that. He has the ability to be patient if he is the largest wallet. If he wanted to convert, in the example, we're using 106 billion Doge. If he wanted to convert, 50 billion Doge, he can say, okay, I'm going to sell X amount here, X amount here, X amount here. Get the joke, X amount, but he can do it in increments, and that way the market has enough time to absorb the Doge that's coming onto the market, versus having 3 or 4 million people, panicking and saying, "Oh my God, we need to sell," and everyone dumps in the market, and they cut the price of the asset in half. So that kind of helps as well. And then again, if you look at the building outside the reputation, that stabilization is going to be a lot more attractive to other businesses, other avenues for the coin. It just becomes relatively, like the math is literally just there for Doge to hit $1. So if you look at the things in totality for the coin, it's really just set up to really just appreciate from here. The only thing that happens is, okay, how will this coin be integrated into X? And, if he's funneling things, if you have the option to choose between different coins to use for X, I think Doge will be the clear winner. I think that if you have, or if you have like the corporations that are paying for advertising and stuff like that, if they must convert to Doge or something like that or at least a cryptocurrency of some form to advertise on the platform like that, it's pretty much a done deal at that point. Right. And I think that if you line Doge up with other cryptos to use on X, I think Doge will be the clear winner. It's my personal opinion that I don't believe people are going to be lining up to spend their Bitcoin on ads or X premium and stuff like that. I think Doge will be the clear winner. And I think that's kind of going to help solidify and drive that strain that on the overall supply and give Dogecoin that boost and put it on the trajectory outside of just cycles and institutional investing and swing traders and all the other stuff that kind of goes into the circular cycles and stuff like that. But if you have the things, because I think this is going to convert Doge to more so on a lot of the corporate and the business cycles. Obviously, Bitcoin is going to go into that with the ETF, and this is not going to have kind of split the bull run into 2 different cycles, because you have the circular cycle and then you have like the corporate institutional cycle. And I think that Doge is going to have a bigger step into the corporate institutional cycle versus just the secular one. So I think this is going to have a really big impact, and this is going to make a lot of sense for Doge to hit some of those higher numbers. So didn't want to drag this video out, make it too long. Just wanted to share the math and get those numbers out there so that you guys can let me know what you think. If you have any thoughts, oppositions, any feelings about what I said, I would love to hear, because I'd love to have some feedback in the comment section. I will get to as many of you guys as possible. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you guys in the next video.